If you woke up tomorrow morning in 4000 BC hearing voices in your head, the first thing you need to know is that there were no doctors. No medicine, no anesthesia, no understanding of what the brain even was. They grabbed a sharp flintstone, held you down, and drilled a literal hole through your skull, and that was the good treatment. For thousands of years, human beings had absolutely no idea what to do when someone went insane. And the things they tried will make you grateful to be alive right now. Welcome to the horrifying history of ancient mental health care, where the cure was almost always worse than the disease. Stay until Act 4, because what they did to people in medieval asylums is so dark I debated whether to include it. But you need to know. Let's start at the beginning. Act 1. Prehistoric trepanning, 8,000 years ago. No written language, no hospitals, no understanding of medicine. If you acted strangely, there was only one explanation. An evil spirit had moved in, and the local shaman had a solution. You build the spirit an exit door in the skull. This is called trepanning. The shaman would first pin the patient down, without anesthesia, without antibiotics, without any form of pain relief whatsoever. They used a sharp piece of flint or obsidian to slowly scrape through the skull bone, not drilling, scraping, in slow circular motions, for hours. Now here is the part that should genuinely impress you. Archaeologists have found thousands of these trepanned skulls worldwide, in Peru, in France, in Egypt, in Russia, in China. All independently, all the same procedure. Completely separate civilizations, all independently concluding that drilling a hole in someone's head was a good idea. Now here is the genuinely astonishing part. The bone healing on many of these skulls proves the patients survived the procedure. Not just survived, some lived for years afterward with a permanent hole in their skull, just living with a hole in their head, which either means the procedure worked, or prehistoric humans were simply built tougher than us. Either way, the spirit was allegedly gone, and the patient was considered cured, whether they felt better or not. So next time you have a headache, be grateful the treatment is a paracetamol, and not a guy with a flint knife. Alright, let's move forward in time to ancient Mesopotamia, where things got even more creative. Act 2. Mesopotamia and Egypt. By 2000 BC, human civilization had taken a massive leap forward. Writing, mathematics, architecture, trade. These people were genuinely advanced. Their medicine was advanced too, for broken bones, for infections, for fevers. But the moment someone started acting mentally unstable, everything they knew went out the window. In Babylon, if you suffered from hallucinations or behaved erratically, the diagnosis was immediate. The demon Idlu Lilu had moved in, a female demon specifically known for haunting people at night. So what was the official medical treatment protocol? Step 1. Bring in the priest. Step 2. Begin the exorcism chanting for hours. Step 3. Force this down their throat, a mixture of bitter herbs and minerals designed to make the demon uncomfortable. Step 4. Beat them. The logic being that physical pain made the body an unwelcoming host for the demon, so the demon would voluntarily leave. And here is where it gets almost impressive. The Babylonian medical texts actually showed remarkable organization. Symptoms were documented, treatments were standardized, follow-up was recorded. The problem was just that the diagnosis was always demon. Always. Now, the ancient Egyptians were slightly more logical about mental illness. They believed mental illness was connected to the physical body, which honestly is a massive step forward from just blaming demons. And then I found out about their treatment for women's anxiety, and I had to sit down for a minute. Ancient Egyptians believed the uterus could literally wander around inside the body, like it was just taking a tour, and when it wandered to the wrong location, it caused anxiety and mental distress. I am not making this up. This is documented in the Kahun Gynecological Papyrus, written down, official, passed on for centuries. Now, what was the cure? Strong-smelling foul odors placed near the patient. The idea being that the terrible smell would drive the uterus back to its correct position. The Egyptian doctor standing outside, completely satisfied. Whether it actually worked is something history has never confirmed, but they kept prescribing it for centuries. Alright, brace yourself, because we are about to talk about the ancient Greeks. Act 3. Ancient Greece and Rome. The ancient Greeks were about to do something remarkable. They decided to remove demons from medicine entirely. Hippocrates, the father of modern medicine, stood up and said something that changed medicine forever. Mental illness is a disease of the brain, not demons, not gods, not a wandering organ, a physical disease. Brilliant. Now let me tell you how they treated it. Hippocrates invented the four humors theory, 4 fluids in the body that supposedly governed all health and illness. Blood causes mania if you have too much of it. Phlegm, yellow bile, and black bile. If you were mentally ill, you had too much black bile, so the treatment was obvious. Get it out. Method 1. Bloodletting. Using leeches, doctors would attach blood-sucking leeches directly to the patient, the idea being that the leeches would extract the excess black bile. They did not. Method 2. Black hellebore, a poisonous plant, that they ground up and made patients drink. Side effects included violent vomiting, extreme diarrhea, and, in some cases, death. But if you survived the treatment, congratulations. You were cured. The logic being that if you survived something that extreme, clearly the black bile was gone. And then came Rome. Rome actually improved on Greek mental health treatment significantly. A Roman doctor named Asclepiades believed in humane treatment, music therapy, light exercise, warm baths, diet improvements. This was 100 BC. 2,000 years ago, the Romans were practicing something that looks recognizably modern. And then Rome fell. And everything they learned about mental health went with it. What came next was the darkest chapter in this whole story. Welcome to the Middle Ages. Act 4. Medieval Asylums and Dark Ages. 476 AD. The Roman Empire is gone. Europe enters what historians call the Dark Ages. And mental illness goes right back to being caused by the devil, or witchcraft, or simply a moral failing. In any case, the treatment was the same. Lock them away. The first dedicated institution for the mentally ill in Europe was St. Mary Bethlehem, founded in 1247, known to Londoners simply as Bedlam. Let me tell you what Bedlam actually was. It was not a hospital. It was a human zoo. Rich Londoners paid a penny at the entrance to walk through and look at the patients, like exhibits, every weekend for centuries. Now let me tell you about the treatments inside Bedlam. Treatment 1. The spinning chair. Patients were strapped into this chair and spun at high speed until they lost consciousness. The theory was that the spinning would rearrange the contents of the brain. It did not. Treatment 2. The ice bath. Patients were suddenly and without warning plunged into freezing water. The shock was supposed to reset the mind. Treatment 3. Starvation until the patient became submissive, which meant they stopped showing symptoms, which they called cured. Bedlam operated like this for over 5 centuries, with tourists visiting every weekend, with medical endorsement, with civic funding. This was not a hidden shame. This was considered charity. The people doing this genuinely believed they were helping, which tells you something very dark about how normal we consider our own era's blind spots. But something was about to change. Someone was about to walk into an asylum and do something unprecedented. Act 5. Birth of Modern Psychology and Outro. 1793, Paris. A French doctor named Philippe Pinel walked into the Bicêtre Hospital Asylum in Paris and began removing the chains from the patients. His argument was considered radical. Mental patients are not criminals, are not sinners. They are sick people, and they deserve humane treatment. Pinel's work started the psychiatric reform movement. Across the Atlantic, Dorothea Dix campaigned for humane asylums in America. In England, John Connolly abolished mechanical restraints entirely. And by the late 1800s, psychology was emerging as a real science. Not perfect, but real. And today, mental health treatment looks like this. Not perfect. We still have a long way to go. But if you put the modern therapy room next to what came before it, the distance we have traveled is extraordinary. From drilling holes in skulls with flint rocks, to actually caring about what is happening inside someone's mind. That is one of the most important journeys in human history. So next time you are struggling and you feel like no one understands, remember that for most of human history, nobody even tried to. But you also have access to something they never had. People who actually know what they are doing. Use them. Alright, let us do a rapid fire tour of what we covered today. 8,000 years ago, heard voices. Got a hole drilled in your skull. 2000 BC, heard voices. Got exorcised, beaten, and forced to drink horrible things. 400 BC, heard voices. Got leeched and forced to drink poison. 1247 to 1800s, heard voices. Got locked in Bedlam and spun in a chair. 1793 onwards, heard voices. Finally, someone asked why. Today, hear voices can actually get help. Progress is slow, but it does happen. If you made it through all of that, subscribe to this channel.